He is an energetic man who wants to see tomorrow come today.
His biggest strength is he's a diplomat. He's a consensus builder.
He listened to both sides.
His commitment, to reforms is unquestionable.
He's a man, I think, who likes to take the center rather than the left or the right of any argument.
I think Abdikadir Mohamed stands for a very successful new young political elite in this country.
The violence that took place on this park at the end of 2007, December 2007, and the elections violence that followed really were terrible, terrible scenes. What I know is it was surely an eye-opener for everybody in the country, and many in this country never want to see it happen again.
Because in this country, unfortunately, there are two tribes that have always dominated the politics. It's the Luos and the Kikuyus. So, from the time of our independence, it was almost like you're either for this tribe or you're for the other one.
Oh, I think it's like the politicians behave everywhere. The system has been running for over 40 years. We say we're independent, and yet people are lagging behind. And one thing that is lagging behind is the constitution, because the constitution is like the core of the society.
Kenya was a British colony. We got our first constitution in 1963. It was modeled towards the British constitution, Westminster Constitution. Mm-hmm. But between 1963 and 1990, the regimes that were in power mutilated that constitution to the point where by the time we were coming into the 90s and late 90s, we really had no constitution, so to speak. We had a dictatorship that was in the form of a constitutional shell, which really made us move very fast towards getting a new constitution. It took a long time.
To be honest, it was a bit of a surprise when he was elected as the chair of that select committee.
I thought politics was certainly not for me, so it was a surprise even to me, certainly to my family and my friends when I decided I was going to join politics. So no, not at all.
And coming from a minority enabled him not to really be seen as as representing any big tribal interest.
He was able to control different interests and focus on national interests, because that's what Kenyan politicians hardly do, looking at the bigger picture. Rather than what divides us.
We gave him the benefit of doubt because he came in as somebody who was not entangled in any partisan position.
To my mind, our country has reached a watershed, and the turning point has come.
I, Mwai Kibaki, President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Republic of Kenya, declare that the Constitution set out in a schedule shall be the new Constitution of Kenya.
After almost 3 decades, we have that kind of constitution that devolves power, that creates strong institutions so that there are checks and balances, has a fantastic, a modern Bill of Rights. In fact, that makes Kenya what I normally call a human rights state and society.
When I was a small boy, you would hear screams from the police station of people being tortured. And that is something we lived with, and it's something directly I have known. And for anybody who comes from that area, the fight for justice, whether social or human rights, it's something that's very, very alive. It's not something you read about in the books or you have had in the history of your country. It's something all of us have lived through. And I have no doubt that had a very, very major impact on my view of the world, on my worldview, the need that states can do horrible things, that human beings can actually undertake very terrible things, and that you really need laws to protect. And I'm very passionate when it comes to bills of rights or any bill or any law in the parliament that has a direct correlation with the use of state power. And while most people might not particularly pick it, I know how it can be misused. I have seen it misused. I have seen it abused, and I think I have tried as much as possible to be very involved in anything that deals with anything to do with people's rights.
The Bill of Rights is quite revolutionary. Very expansive, very liberal, very important in my view. The Bill of Rights is very important. But also the judiciary. The way the judiciary has been liberated from the executive. The president cannot appoint anybody in the judiciary. From the highest judge to the lowest person, he has no say. So, in my view, those are the two most important components of the Constitution.
The Constitution alone, of course, cannot stop these things. We must change our attitude. We must re-educate ourselves and embrace these principles for real. It should not be tokenism again.
we will ensure that the new constitution is implemented.
They are not defeated. It will be very, very, very naive politically to think that because there is a new constitution, those forces are going to sit back.
The constitution requires a lot of things to be done, many things to be done in a short time. A lot of institutions to be reformed, new offices to be set up, new structures to be in place. And the role of the committee is to ensure that everything gets done. Every department of government does its bit as far as the implementation is concerned.
You still have a challenge, and that challenge is to see that this constitution is well implemented. And we are all, as Kenyans, looking upon you, believing that the implementation will be for the benefit of Kenyans, but not the benefit of the members of parliament. And therefore, we ask you to steer this committee in the right way. Our hopes are in you as well as in God, who is giving you the strength to do this work.